Jason Holder, and there's no run. So just the field here for Roach, with Chanda pulled out on a deep square leg boundary and Warrican at deep fine leg. So 2 men out. So a possible indicator there of what Roach's plan is this morning. He's got 2 slips. Sorry, in fact that's Joseph at mid-off and Jason Holder's at second slip. Here's Roach once again, past umpire Kettleborough, and Rowett just lets that one go outside off stump through to the keeper. No run. Are you surprised they didn't open with Alzari, Joseph?
A bit surprised. I would think you'd have the quicker bowler. Very surprised. In fact, I was about to mention that.
Just see that last ball really struggled to get through to Joshua Da Silva. So here's Roach, sun shining on his back, wide of the crease, and Rohit Sharma's cutting behind point. There's a chase out there towards the boundary. It's not going to make it all the way. It's collected well and restricts Rohit to just 2 runs.
We can hear the orchestra outside, Andrew. A lot of noise seems to be outside the ground.
Next ball from Roach is just defended by Rohit Sharma. So just looking at this field, so it's quite an interesting field. There's 3 men on the leg side, so we've got Craig Brathwaite at mid-on, Chanda Paul on the square leg boundary, Warrican at long leg, and on the offside 2 slips, Raheem Cornwall, Jason Holder, Marlon Blackwood's at point, and we have a cover, a short extra cover and a mid-off. Here's Roach. Steaming in, and very solid defence there by Rohit Sharma, picked up by Alec Athanaze at a shortish extra cover.
Andrew, you said Marlon, Jermaine Blackwood.
Oh, keep getting that
wrong. Yeah, you keep saying that. What is Jermaine Blackwood?
I'm saying that. Jermaine Blackwood, yeah. Oh, Blackwood. Here's Roach once more, this time closer to the umpire, and it's a full toss and Rowett doesn't cash in. All he can do is find Ramon Rifa at cover, and there's no run. So that's the end of the second over here, just 2 runs added to the overnight total. So India stand at 80 without loss here at Windsor Park.
In fact, Andrew, you mentioned earlier in the over that Roach is a bit short on pace. Roach has been short of pace for a while now. In fact, yesterday I mentioned he doesn't have the pace he had years ago to put men on the back foot. In fact, if you look at most of the English batsmen are just coming on the front foot against him. And that's why I mentioned how long can he go on. He has been an outstanding West Indian bowler. He's taken what? He's gone past both Holding and Ghana in the list of all-time West Indies wicket-taking bowlers. So I think we don't know how long he's going to last to continue, but Roach now doesn't have the pace to more or less put batsmen on the back foot. He just come forward like playing him like a slow bowler.
So it's going to be Holder once more from the Botanical Gardens end. He's going to change his line here. He's going to come round the wicket to the left-handed Jaiswal. The field change 2. There's 2 short covers now for Jaiswal. Here's Holder. Around the wicket, and it's left alone. So Holder just struggling to get his line right here. Although sometimes I have seen fast bowlers bowl 4 or 5 in a row outside off stump, then bowl one closer and find the edge. I remember Simon Dool doing it once to Navjot Sidhu in Wellington. He bowled basically 4 or 5 virtually wides. Last ball of the over he nicks off to the keeper. Actually took 7 wickets that day. Boxing Day at the Basin Reserve, 1999 I think it was. So 3 slips now. So Alec Athanase comes into second slip next to Cornwall to his right and Blackwood to his left. Here is Holder, and that's a better delivery on the line of off stump. That's defended to cover, where it's picked up by the captain, Craig Brathwaite. What have you thought of Brathwaite's captaincy so far?
Bit defensive. He's normally the defensive captain, Andrew. Normally.
Here's Holder, and once more it's outside the line of off stump, and Jaiswal lets it go through the keeper, and immediately after he let that go, he asked the spectator at the far end who was standing near the sight screen to move. So it's one thing that always amazes me, how batsmen can detect that. When they're focused on the bowler, they still see stuff out of their peripheral vision.
I always wonder about that myself. If you're batting and you're concentrating the bowler, how do you see people moving all over the place? And I've seen a lot of that recently in Test match cricket.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? I mean, I haven't played cricket to any sort of level. I've never even played with a side screen. Here's Holder, round the wicket. And once more, Jaiswal just lets that go through to Joshua De Silva behind the stumps. So Brathwaite moving his men around here. He's taken out the slip, Athanase. He's gone back into the cover region. I don't know why there's a deep point. I really have no idea why there's a man out there.
Well, only if he intends bowling wide outside the off stump. That's the only reason.
Here's Holder again. And this time Jaiswal's defending into the offside and there's no run. Yeah, I just don't really get the... I mean, I kind of get it on the one hand, but it's not like he's going after the bowling. You know, Holder's bowling a line. He must have let, 7 or 8 balls go through to the keeper now. He's not looking to play that shot.
Yeah, I don't see the reason as well. I mean, they need to get wickets.
Here's Holder. Oh, and this time Jaiswal chases a wide one. Having just said he's not playing those shots, that's exactly what he does. But he doesn't make contact and it sails through to the keeper. So that's the end of the 3rd over of the morning. It's a maiden from Jason Holder. And India are 82 without loss here at Windsor Park.
Yeah, they've bowled 2 maiden overs so far. Jason is concentrating and bowling this outside the off-stump length, hoping that Jaiswal can chase after one, and we saw that in the final ball of the over where he looked to drive one through the covers and missed. As you said, maybe that's the reason why he has the man deep down on the boundary.
Yeah, I'm just thinking also, Jaiswal yesterday, the shot he played to get off the mark, it was a shorter ball and he played it in the air, so maybe that's also coming into their thinking. Okay, so it's Roach now beginning a new over from the river end. And he bowls to Roach Sharma, who pulls that one away in front of square, but Chanda pulls out there. So just the 1 run to Roach Sharma, which brings Jaiswal on strike. So this will be the first time he faces Kemar Roach today, who's immediately going to go round the wicket to Jaiswal, the left-hander. So it's interesting, to the left-hander, Roach doesn't have a man back on the leg side, and to the right-handed Sharma he did. So let's see what his plan is here.
Why is the noise this?
Here's Roach, angled run up, coming into the crease, getting close to the stumps, and Jaiswal plays that one off his legs, and that's going to run away for 4. So just straying in line there, Roach, and Jaiswal just got the faintest of leg glances and raced away to the boundary for 4. That takes him on to 44.
Well, Andrew, the umpire signal leg buys. I thought I saw the umpire signaling leg buys.
think they're pretty sure that came off the back. Did he signal leg
Yeah, I
byes?
think so, yeah. He signaled leg byes, the umpire.
No, he did too. Okay, so Jaiswal's not on 44. He's on 40 still. Here's Roach. Bowling to Jaiswal. This time he works it off his pads into the leg side. There's a man out there who's Ramon Reefer. He comes in off the boundary to restrict the scoring to just the single, so Jaiswal moves on to 41. So that brings the captain, Roach Sharma, back on strike. He's looked very good, Roach, I have to say. He isn't, you know, he's got the reputation of being a fast scorer, but he's played it beautifully so far. Here's Roach. And that one's outside the line of off stump. Roach just shoulders arms, goes through to the wicket keeper. It's interesting, isn't it, just with the field settings, Cebu. You know, you look at the way Ben Stokes is captaining these days. He just comes up with these really creative fields and bowling plans. And, you know, I know this is, you know, still very early on in the day, but it just seems a little bit defensive. Here's Roach. Bowling to Rohit, who shuffles across his crease, but that's wide of the off stump. He's not tempted to take a dab at that or a drive at that, and it goes through to Joshua De Silva behind the stumps.
And as you said, very small crowd. The crowd obviously disappointed after yesterday's play, and let's hope we get a few more people coming in today.
Here's Roach, last ball of the over. Bowling to Rohit, and it's a short ball up around head height, and Rohit just guides it down to long leg, where it's fielded there by Reefer, and that's one further run to Rohit. He goes on to 34. India now 89 without loss here at Windsor Park.
And the Indians going about it, Andrew, no problem at all. Both batsmen have looked very secure, both Rohit, and as you said, Rohit has played extremely well. They've looked very secure. The West Indian bowlers, on the other hand, bowling wide, hoping to catch one of the Indian batsmen playing at ball they shouldn't be. But again, West Indies needs wickets. They need to get a few wickets to have the Indian batsmen on the back foot. But if you keep bowling wide and you allow them to get in, to dig in, West Indies could be having a very long day in the hot sun today.
Yeah, we've just sort of seen the one false shot, haven't we? That waft outside off stump by Jaiswal and Holder's last over. So it's going to be Holder to continue. Of course, he's the former West Indian captain, very tall man. Turns at the top of his mark, just in front of the advertising. Comes in now. And Rohit Sharma's working this one off his pads down to fine leg. Fielded there by Jamal Warrican, and it's one further run to Rohit. It takes him on to 35. With him is Jaiswal, the debutant, on 41. The other thing too, of course, is the left-hand, right-hand combination. It does make it harder for the bowlers, doesn't it? You know, Holder's bowling over the wicket 1 minute, then he's coming round the wicket. But in theory, bowling round the wicket with the angle, he shouldn't be bowling too many balls for the left-handed Jaiswal to leave. Here he is, Holder, and Jaiswal's guiding that one to that man at deep point. That's Warrican, and it's just a one run to Jaiswal. Takes him on to 42, India 91 without loss. So I guess there's a potential milestone coming up here, or two actually. Jaiswal's half century, but also a 100 partnership with his captain on debut.
Yes, and the youngsters played well. I mean, he started slowly yesterday. In fact, he didn't get a run until his 13th delivery, but he's looked good since he played a few shots yesterday, Andrew.
Yeah, that reverse sweep he played off Cornwall I thought was a magnificent shot.
Well, we see that in the IPL all the time, from some people like him.
He just executed it absolutely perfectly. Here's Holder back over the wicket to Roach Sharma, and it's drifting on towards his pads, but he just plays that defensively to mid-wicket. And there's no run there. So just looking at the field now. So there's a deep square leg for Rohit, long leg, a short mid-wicket, and a mid-on the leg side. As a drone goes flying past us in the commentary position here. Here's Holder once more. And Rohit's defensively forward. So a better line here from Jason Holder, making the batsman play. Well, there just doesn't seem to be any indication of any movement or any assistance out of this wicket at all.
And you know, Andrew, I always wonder sometimes, in the Caribbean, we have, when I played, you go to Jamaica or Barbados, you saw these wickets actually shining hard and fast. But of late, in fact, the last few years, the pitches have left a lot to be desired, the quality of the pitches.
Here's Holder now, bowling a shortish ball to Rohit, and once again he just finds the ball, playing right in front of his grill, and works that one down to the long leg for a single. So that brings Jaiswal back on strike. Just looking at this replay here. So a bit of an effort ball from Jason Holder, but Rohit just plays this absolutely beautifully, right in front of his eyes, guiding it down into the ground. No chance of getting caught, and not trying to hit the ball too hard either, just finding the single and getting down the other end of the wicket. Rohit moves to 36. So now Warrican comes up off the deep point boundary for the left-handed Jaiswal, and Holder's bowling to him. He lets it go through to the keeper. So that's the end of the 5th over of the morning. India have added 12 to the overnight total. They're 92 without loss here at Windsor Park.
And no real alarms for the Indian batsmen. Both of them, they're going about their business nice and comfortable. The bowling doesn't seem all that threatening. Holder bowling very tightly, but the Indian batsmen appear very comfortable. And Andrew,
they do indeed. You know, it's interesting, Seba, this whole thing about Bazball, if you want to call it that. I personally don't like the word. But, you know, imagine if England were playing here today. Do you reckon there'd be like double the size of the crowd here? Here's Kemar Roach, bowling to Roach Sharma. He's just defending that one into the covers. It's picked up there by Jermaine Blackwood.
Well, Andrew, we haven't seen Bazball in the last 2 test matches, though. The first inning of the first test, they tried it again. It hasn't worked, but we didn't see that in the last test. The Bazball, obviously, England looking to win the series, they claim. They said they want to come back and win after the second test match. So we haven't seen much of the Bazball in the last test match.
Here's Roach again. It's a fuller length delivery to Roach Sharma, and he just plays it up to Craig Brathwaite at mid-on, and there's no run. I think what I was sort of getting at is, so for example, when they England went to Pakistan last year and scored 500 on the first day, you know, it's just a complete, you know, on this wicket,
well, that's what I'm saying.
Go absolutely crazy.
Exactly.
On this wicket. Here's Roach, past umpire Kettleborough, and Roach watchfully lets that one go through the keeper, and there's no run.
And this pitch is a bit slow, Andrew. It's not a pitch where you can play through the line. I mean, if you look at, and it spun yesterday. There are a few balls that spun. Even from Cornwall, we saw some spinning, and both Ashwin and Jadeja got the ball to spin. But it's a slow pitch. It's not a pitch where you can play through the line of the ball.
Yeah, look at this this TV, the snorkeling and all the diving and everything you can do here in Dominica. I might get to go on this weekend. Here's Roach once more. Oh, and he draws a false shot from Roach Sharma, looking to defend that one. Definitely played at it, but he was beaten. And it just went past the outside edge to Joshua De Silva.
Well, Andrew, you might have enough time to do that. You say you want to go maybe Saturday and Sunday. You might be able to do that. go around Dominica and have a good time, look at the place. And so when you get back to New Zealand, you can tell your friends.
Here's Roach, 5th ball of the over, and it's a short ball, and Roach just rocks back and just guides that one down to Chanderpool, just behind square, and it's one further run to him. He moves to 37.
And Andrew, you noticed today, Rohit, normally when he hits the hooks at the ball, he hits it, try to go for 6 in the air, but you notice today, he made the effort to try and get right over the ball. I mean, instead of looking for single, instead of trying to go aerial.
Yeah, he's an absolutely no danger of getting caught there. Here's Roach bowling to Jaiswal. He plays it into the gap at between mid-wicket and mid-on, and Alzari Joseph comes round to collect the ball. It's one further run to Jaiswal. He moves to 43. India are 94 without loss here at Windsor Park.
And yeah, Roach is somewhat of a compulsive hooker, as you know. If you have watched him over the years, he's somewhat of a compulsive hooker. But today he's made the effort to try and hit the ball down most of the time.
Just wanted to go back to that snorkeling and diving, Sevu. My girlfriend is actually going diving this afternoon.
Where? In New Zealand?
No, just down the coast here.
Okay, all right.
And I must give a shout out to Freddo's.
Right, Freddo's, yeah.
Freddo's is going to be taking her down there and making sure she gets there safely, bringing her home safely. Great outfit, Freddo's. Here is Jason Holder.
Did he tell you he's a Calypsonian? Did he say that to you?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
Yeah, he picked me up from the airport and regaled me with all his stories about being a footballer and how he loved cricket, but then football took over his life. But yeah, Freddo's, if you want to get around the Caribbean, no job's too big or too small for Freddo's. They've got I think he said they've got a 45-seater bus, and then they've got like a small little van, so whatever your needs are, give Freddo's a call. Here's Holder to Jaiswal around the wicket, and Jaiswal just lets that one go through to the keeper, being very watchful. Hasn't hit anything down the ground yet so far today.
And his daughter is a Calypsonian as well. Did he tell you that? A very popular Calypsonian. In fact, she sings with a band.
Yes.
Yeah.
He did.
He told you that,
Yeah,
right?
he told me that.
Yeah.
He gave me his full CV, actually. I was starting to feel quite inferior. Just a humble cricket commentator. Here's Holder. And Jaiswal just plays that one on the line of off stump into the covers, and there's no run. But yeah, she's going diving with Nature Island divers.
Okay.
It's actually quite hard to get a trip because it's very quiet here at the moment. But they managed to get her in this afternoon. She's doing a couple of dives down in Soufrières.
Yes,
yeah,
Soufrières. In fact, it's straight up the south. As you look towards the south,
right.
This area, straight to the south. You have Point Michel, then you have Soufrières and Scott's Head towards the south.
So, based on her report, I know they have space on Sunday, so I might go there myself. Unless the West Indies have an amazing second innings. Here is Holder bowling to Jaiswal. He plays that firmly just wide of mid-off. It's picked up there by Roach, but Jaiswal goes through for a single that takes him to 44. And the Indian total to 95 without loss. Yeah, from what I've seen, and definitely those images on the television monitor there, the diving looks absolutely brilliant. So I reckon I might.
Well, it's something for you to go there. Lots of things in Dominica you can do, Andrew. Lots of things. So if the match is finished early, you have plenty of places you can go before you leave here to go to Barbados.
Is this putting like a commentator's curse on my diving plans? Here's Holder bowling to Rohit, and he's defensively forward, just pushes that into the offside, and there's no run.
Well, you said unless West Indies puts an amazing second inning, well, two batsmen will have to get hundreds, and big hundreds for that to happen.
I'd probably go more like 3 or 4.
Yeah, well, if 160, 170,
yeah,
and
true.
Other people can chip in, you can get to 450. And if West Indies could do that, it put them in pole position to probably win the game. But we will know that in the next 2 hours. We will have a fair idea of where that match is going.
Here's Holder, rolling to row it, and he's beaten outside the line of off stump. It goes through to the keeper, so well bowled Jason Holder, very tidy figures. He's got none for 10 off 8, and India here 95 without loss at Windsor Park.
Yeah, he bowled very well this morning, Jason. He's bowled very, very well, tightly. He's been miserly. He's bowled 8 overs for probably like 10 or 11 runs. So he's beaten the bat on a couple of occasions. So he's done a very good job for Craig Bradford, the captain of the West Indies team. And what the West Indies really need now is a wicket and 2. And maybe as Andy Carter comes in, probably might bring some luck to the West Indies team, Andy.
Good morning to you, Lockhart. Good morning to all listeners. It's a bright and sunny day here at Windsor Park. India beginning on 80 without loss of 23 overs with Sharma not out on 30, Jaiswal not out on 40. Jaiswal has moved on to 44. Sharma has moved on to 37, and India, they have moved from 80 to 95. A slow start for the Indians, but they are not bothered. The line of the West Indies bowlers, especially Holder, seem to be outside the off stump, and the batsmen not forced to play in the early overs.
Yes, yeah, but they were bowling a bit wide. I don't know that that was part of the plan, Andy.
So we have seen some 7 overs bowled. We're into the 8th over of the morning, and just 15 runs added to the Indian total. But they wouldn't be too bothered by that. Their captain is there, he's on 37. Jaiswal is on 44. And they've put on a good partnership, 95 without losing a wicket. Remember that yesterday the West Indies dismissed for 150, really setting them back. As Roach bows to Jaiswal, delivery, poorly directed delivery, and the ball going down the leg side, well gathered there by the wicketkeeper De Silva. So it's strange that we did not see Alzari Joseph opening this morning. They've decided to use maybe more economical stuff by Jason Holder and Kima Roach. But it's felt that if you want to get wickets, you go with your most aggressive bowler. Here is Roach. Bows outside the off stump. Jaiswal judges this one well and allows it to go through to the wicketkeeper. So the crowd building up. Earlier coming in, there was the pan in harmony, playing some sweet pan music, and the good culture being exhibited here at Windsor Park. The crowd building up. Yesterday for Wednesday, it was a fairly good crowd, as Roach from around the wicket bows to the left-handed batsman. He drives pleasantly, well knocked down there by Afanaz. There at short extra cover. Lovely work there, good drive, a good powerful drive, and he got the left hand down and knocked the ball down and prevented what looked like a certain boundary.
Yes, a lovely stroke and well fielded by Ali Afanaz at extra cover.
So the slip, we see Cornwall there at first slip, at second slip Jason Holder, the captain is at mid-off. Zari Joseph at mid-on, Alik Afanaz there at short extra cover. As again he gets a delivery pitched up, he's going for the off drive, the ball peeling off the inside portion of the bat and going down to the man at the backward square, and he gets a run. The over comes to an end. At the end of the over, India 96 without loss, and that's the latest score here at Windsor Park.
Yes, and both Indian batsmen, Andrew, I mean, Jaiswal is just playing, trying to play every ball on its merit, looking to get to his first half century in Test cricket. The captain himself, Sharma, has played very, very well. He hasn't looked in a lot of problems, and the West Indies bowlers really have their work cut out for them today, Andrew.
Well, yesterday we saw Cornwall just bowled a few overs, 4 overs for 17 runs, and then he went off the field. And I believe that if West Indies and to make any major breakthrough, that Cornwall will have to play an integral part in that.
Well, both spinners, Warrican as well.
Following up on what Ashwin and Jadija did yesterday, but it's Jason Holder from the Botanic Garden end, woes, and the batsman not getting hold of it. Jaiswal, the ball goes down to the backward square leg where Shandapur comes up the boundary and gets one run. Is Jaiswal, he moves on to 46, but certainly not getting hold of this ball as you would have liked.
Well, this pitch is not a quick pitch, Andy. Not a quick pitch. We've said that since yesterday.
So it will be Rohit Sharma, has faced 86 balls so far for his 37. Jaiswal on the other hand, 46 up 101 balls. Here is Holder with 2 slips, a backward point, cover, mid-off, mid-on. Bowes delivery directed on the off stump. Sharma covers up, comfortable in defense, and there is no run. Bright, sunny conditions. Really lovely day for cricket. And I dare say had the West Indies performed and scored a few more runs, we would have maybe seen many more people here in attendance. But Jaiswal is there on 46. Yashasvi Jaiswal plays for the same side like Jason Holder in the IPL, the Rajasthan Royals. As Holder bowls one which Sharma covers up, plays it to Brathwaite at short mid-wicket, and there is no run. So Holder and Jaiswal playing for the Rajasthan Royals. Jaiswal will be familiar with the bowling of Holder.
Yes, they would have probably practiced a lot in the nets, Andy.
So Holder has bowled quite economically so far. This morning not many runs coming off him, just about 6 runs as bowls a delivery on the off stump. Sharma is equal to it, plays it on the offside, straight there to mid-off where Alzari fields, and there is no run. So yesterday, Alik Afanaz making his debut and batted quite well. He was batting comfortably till he played a forced shot and was dismissed for 47. But we expect good things from Afanaz as he continues his journey in Test cricket. Gets the delivery on his legs, he works it down to the backward square. Warrican will come off the boundary and Rohit Sharma will add 1 more to his total. He moves on to 38 and the Indian total advances to 98 without loss. So Holder looks like he's going to bowl over the wicket on this occasion. All along this morning he was bowling around the wicket to the left-handed batsman. Seems that he has decided to go over the wicket. 2 slips go down as Holder from the Botanic Garden end bowls a short rising delivery. Jaiswal handles it well, plays it down to the fieldsman coming off the deep backward square leg boundary. Shandapur, and Jaiswal adds 1 more to his total. He's 47. India 99 without loss, and that's the latest score here at Windsor Park.
Yes, and the Jason Holder has bowled 9 overs so far, and it's been a long spell. In fact, if you look at him going up the field now, I don't know if he'll probably get a change of shirt or what. I don't think he's injured, so we'll see how long he stays off the field. But he seems to be going off the field now. He's had a long spell.
Yes, 5 overs this morning and only conceded 7 runs. As figures now of 9 overs, none for 13. So here is the bowling change, much anticipated, and it's Alzari Joseph to replace Kima Roach, and he'll be bowling from the river end, the media center end, the northern end if you like, and he'll be bowling to Jaiswal, who is on 47. India 99 without loss. They trail by 51 runs. So West Indies looking to make a breakthrough this morning. Haven't been able to do so. India, on the other hand, would want to compile as many runs as possible. Here is Zari Joseph. Runs away from us now. Bows to the batsman who drives straight to the man at short extra cover. Looks like Reefer, and there is no run. In fact, it looks like a substitute because the holder has just left the field. So there is a substitute fieldsman fielding there at short extra cover. Zari Joseph from the river end, the fastest bowler on the West Indies side, runs in, bows from around the wicket, and he's pulling this one. And the ball goes into the mid-wicket boundary. 4 runs, short delivery, batsman getting into his wicket, and that brings up his 50. 51 there for Jaiswal. 51 he is, and certainly has batted quite well. 51 off 104 balls, and just Yashasvi Jaiswal is his maiden half century. As I welcome to the microphones, Heston Charles. Good morning, Heston.
Good morning to you, Andrew, and good morning to the listeners of Cotton Drive and all our listeners in the region and those listening locally on Carry FM. It's a beautiful day. Jaiswal scores his half century at the Windsor Park, looking good.
Gets a ball which he opens the face of the bat, steers it down to Shandapur, coming off the squarish cover boundary, and gets another run. He moves on to 52. The 100 has come up for India of 32.2 overs. The 50 came up in 12.2, and now the 100 for India posted in 32.2 overs.
Yeah, Jaiswal is certainly a dangerous batsman, and he scored 197 in his under-19 debut against, he scored that in India against South Africa, and so he'll be looking to make a statement here today. A young player, 21 years old, Andy.
One slip, a gully, go down as here is Zari Joseph. Bows to Rohit Sharma. Rohit Sharma gets a delivery slightly back of a good length, covers up and pushes it to Blackwood at short extra cover. So the field is one slip, a gully, extra cover, mid-off, mid-on, short mid-wicket, deep square leg, and a man deep down on the long leg boundary. So, making his debut. The last 10 batters to score 50 on their test debut, and you can see Jaiswal is one of them, Sonda, and a few others who have done well, as a delivery there once more from Zari.
Yeah.
He covers up and plays it to the captain there at mid-on, and there is no run.
I understand that the sun is very hot today, Andy.
Yes, well, you've got to keep hydrated. You've got to drink as much water as possible so you don't get cramps. So here is Zari Joseph once again. Yesterday he bowled 5 overs, which was relatively costly. 25 runs came off it, as was a good delivery. Batsman covers up, pushes it to the mid-wicket. He picks up. The over comes to an end. At the end of over number 33, India 104 without loss. Jaiswal is on 52. Rohit Sharma is on 38. And that's the latest score here at Windsor Park.
Yeah, very good going by India. They started off yesterday with 80 runs without loss, and they came in here today with a mission. And if they go through this first session there without a wicket falling, and they will look to put on probably 400 here about before the day is over, by the way they're going.
Yes, sensible batting by both openers. Jaiswal making his debut, Rohit Sharma in his 51st test match, and they have really played quite well, and the Indian batting, good batting lineup. We've got people like Virat Kohli, Ajinkya Rahane, long batting lineup, I can tell you, and West Indies need to make some inroads. There's Ishan Kishan, who is making his debut. Ravindra Jadeja, no slouch with the bat, and Ashwin is there. Shadow Thacker has got some runs behind his name, and it's a long road for the West Indies team as we see the introduction of Rakim Cornwall from the Botanic Gardens end.
Yes, it's indeed a long journey for the West Indies today.
Here is the delivery, which the batsman on the back foot, punching it down to the man deep at mid-off. Roach comes in, but can't prevent the run. Jaiswal gets another run. He moves on to 53, and India now 105 without loss. Just 45 runs behind the West Indies' first innings total of 150.
Yeah, I like the role that Roach is playing. He's a more experienced player, and he's ensuring that he keeps encouraging Jaiswal, being the younger player, Andy.
Gets a delivery there from Cornwall. Sharma turns it.
Changes mode of delivery, Andy, I notice. It's coming.
Bowling from over the wicket. Bowling from over the wicket.
Yeah.
Woes, batsman covers up, pushes it to the man there at straightish mid-wicket. He moved to his left, moving in a mid-on area, and no run. And immediately Brathwaite takes the role of being in that position there at wide-ish mid-on. Blackwood, the vice captain, is at slip. There's a short leg, backward point, short extra cover, mid-off, and a loud appeal, and
This one looked a little bit high, Andy. Looked a little bit high from my vantage point. I don't know what you saw, Andy.
well, the timer is still on, but the West Indies not interested. But the ball coming off, and the fieldsman there, Blackwood, holding on to a catch, but certainly hitting the pad, and the West Indian players, the captain, not even going for the review. The end of an over from Cornwall, and at the end of it, India 104th without loss.
Yeah, very good going by India, and you could see that they're showing Cornwall some respect, and the appeal was for LBW, and this one seemed to have been going down leg. So we have a very good session there by the Indian batters, and we look into the stands and we see the Grayson Shillingford and Irvin Shillingford stand, and the crowd is trickling a little bit, and we really hope that probably later in the day that more persons will come to the Windsor Park.
Slight corrections, actually 105 without loss, 45 runs adrift. Bright sunny conditions prevailing here at Windsor Park. Yesterday, barring just a slight interruption, which didn't cost too much. And today, again, another bright and sunny day. Good day for cricket. Crowd building up in high anticipation of the West Indies performing well this morning as Azari bows to Jaiswal. Jaiswal covers up, and he can score as the ball is played to short extra cover.
Yes, and the Windsor Park, playing area has proven to be a batsman paradise, Andy, over the years, and in India will look to make good use of this batting pitch that we have here at the Windsor Park.
Well, it's a good batting pitch, but yet still the West Indies could only muster 150 runs after having won the toss. Here is Azari Joseph from around the wicket. Bows a delivery which is directed on the off stump. He plays it well. Skipper Brathwaite is there at mid-off and prevents any chance of a run. So Jaiswal 7 fours in his 50, 7 fours, and batted quite well, 7 fours, and he has faced 104 balls. Raises his bat, and a very happy man. On your debut, you make a half century. Here is Alzari Bose. The batsman drives, finds Brathwaite at mid-off, and he can score. So Jaiswal is kept on 53 of 109 balls. Rohit Sharma, the captain who began today on 30, has just added 8 runs to his overnight score. Has moved on to 38. He has faced 98 deliveries.
He's playing the senior role on the just encouraging Jaiswal to go out there and look good and making his debut there today, and he's looking in good form, good knock, Andy.
Here is Joseph. Bose is driving gloriously. The man there at backward point will come off the boundary and limit the batsman just to 1 run. But he was coming forward, driving pleasantly, and in the end, just 1 more to him. He moves on to 54, and the Indian total moves on to 106 without loss.
He's not phased. He has been settled from since earlier this morning, and a glorious drive there, and certainly he's looking very well set, Andy, to get a high total there at the Windsor Park.
Alzari Joseph decides to go over the wicket to the right-handed batsman Rohit. Was a well-directed delivery on the stumps, and Sharma there in defense, solid in defense, pushes it to short extra cover. Jimin Blackwood is in the way, and there is no run. So very quiet period for the Indians. The West Indies looking to make a breakthrough, which hasn't quite materialized so far.
Yes, it's a long walk in the tunnel.
Alzari Bose a delivery just slightly outside the off stump, and Sharma was thinking of playing, withdrew the bat at the last moment, and the ball going through to the wicketkeeper brings about the end of over number 35, and India 106 without loss is the latest score here at Windsor Park.
Alzari looking to get that one into the batsman, and batsman just watching this one go by, playing cautiously and just ensuring that no loose stroke, and that is very important. The loose stroke, why get yourself out? Just stay there and frustrate the bowling.
Well, 12 overs have been bowled this morning. Only 26 runs conceded by the West Indies bowlers. You had Jason Hoder, who had a fantastic spell. He bowled 5 overs this morning, and only 9 runs came off his 5 overs, and really kept things tight for the West Indies. But what they need is wickets. Can Cornwall produce a wicket for the West Indies? Here is from around the wicket, draws Jaiswal forward, circumspectly forward, and there is no run. So Jaiswal making his debut and batting quite well. India trail by 44 runs. Here is Cornwall. Coming forward is Jaiswal, and pushes it there to the captain at short extra cover, and once again there is no run. Floats this one, and it is a loud appeal, and umpire Goff is unmoved, and the players, they consult. It was a good delivery. It spun away from Jaiswal. Umpire Goff did not give the affirmative decision. The West Indies...
The last one is touching his elbow, and he's touching his elbow, like almost indicating that the ball took his elbow.
Well, you can't rely on that. You've got to go. The West Indies, they have gone for the review, and let's watch it on the monitor. Good ball pitched and spinning away, and we need a better view. Not quite clear there, but certainly at that point, I'm not sure when they higher up, so you've got to watch it on ultra edge now. Going, misses. So a flat line, and the decision will remain not out.
Yes, it's not out.
So,
Andy, you would have been a good third umpire, Andy. Good television umpire.
well, remember I did some umpiring in my early days. we don't reach any high degree of umpiring, but the point is, once you know the game,
Yes.
you can you are in good position to make certain decisions. But a good decision there
decision
by the umpire, Michael Goff, as here is another, and this time is a loud appeal once again. And ball maybe appealing for a leg before, because you could clearly see De Silva not gathering the ball cleanly. But this time, no review.
No review. West Indies do not want to waste another review, Andy.
So things beginning to happen there. He's swinging, trying to sweep this one. Good delivery there from Cornwall. A good over in the end from Cornwall. And at the end of over number 36, India 106 without loss. Jaiswal is on 54. Roach is on 38. And that's the latest score here at Windsor.
Yes, Andy, you were certainly right. You did indicate earlier on that, you know, racking Cornwall may make the difference in the bowling department for West Indies. And clearly, since he came on, he has been troubling the batsmen. And so you call it right. Racking Cornwall would have to make the difference in the bowling department for West Indies, because he certainly at this point is giving the Indian batters some trouble, Andy.
Well, in that over, he looked quite good. He spun the ball, did something similar to what Ashwin did, getting the ball to leave the left-handed batsman. But it's Alzari Joseph from the river end once again, bowling over the wicket. And this one is played, oh, beautifully off his legs there. And the ball going down to the boundary. The umpire will wait his signal. Not too sure what he's going to signal. Wait for his signal. The ball was hit. Just coming forward and flicking the ball high, and at the cow corner position, wide-ish mid-wicket, and still awaiting the decision from umpire Kettlebrough. One has to watch it. It's going. In fact, clearly looks to me, with the umpire signal, I don't want to preempt his decision, but he's still watching it on the monitor. Did it hit the boundary board full? Not too certain as yet. Still awaiting, but it was a beautiful shot, pitched up on the legs of Sharma, and he just clipped it to the cow corner region.
And that's an interesting situation there. It appears that the ball probably did not hit the boundary ropes. From my vantage point, looking at the screen, I don't know what you're saying, but it appears that seemed to be a very interesting situation right now there.
Well, it's left to the umpires. I hate to make the decisions which I am not entitled to make.
From my vantage point, it didn't seem to hit the rope, Andy.
Well, I'll await the umpire. You have the TV umpire. The TV umpire, Marius Erasmus, is the one making the call, and it's 6 runs. So you can't rely on Heston Charles's decision and information.
It appears.
It's 6 runs there.
It appears, Andy.
Here is a delivery outside of the off stump, and the batsman Sharma allows it to go. But it was a beautiful shot, pitched up on his legs, and he just clipped it. And to clip a ball forward of square in the mid-wicket area, cow corner as they call it, is really a fantastic shot.
Very, very good shot. He looked very composed, like I indicated earlier on. He's on fails and very well settled. And this opening pair, and they're looking more and more dangerous out there.
Here is Joseph. Bows to Sharma. Sharma is covering up, opens the face of the bat, steers the ball down to a third man. The first man is giving chase. He can give it up now. There's 4 runs there to Rohit Sharma. He moves on to 44. 48 he is. 116 without loss. And certainly in full command there, India. Just opening the face of the bat and guiding it. No problems whatsoever from Sharma, and getting a boundary. So overnight he was 30. He has added 18 runs this morning On the other hand, Jaiswal, who was on 40, has added 14. So they've really added good bit of runs, 80 and 46 runs so far. Here is Joseph, woes to Sharma. Sharma is driving, finds Roach in the way at mid-off, and he can score.
This two more to get a century, and it looks very well destined to get it, Andy. Unless something strange happened, but he's well settled there at the crease, and he looks very destined to get that 50 runs.
So after this over, we'll have Andrew McLean coming back. Let's see if he can change the fortunes. Here is Joseph. Woes to Sharma. Sharma is working this one delightfully off his legs once again. Shandapal will come off the deep square leg boundary and will limit the batsman to just 1 run. Sharma moves to 49. He has faced 105 deliveries so far. 117 without loss India. In reply to 150 scored by the West Indies. Remember, it's the Cycle Pure Agapathi series. First test, the 99th test, and the 100th will be played at the Queen's Park Oval as Azari Joseph from around the wicket to Jaiswal. Pitches this one up, he drives elegantly, forcefully, but can't beat Captain Brathwaite at mid-off. The over comes to an end. At the end of over number 37, Drinks has been summoned onto the field. Rohit Sharma is on 49, Jaiswal is on 54. 37 overs have been completed. The Indian total 117 for no loss, and certainly a good morning cricket has been intriguing. West Indies, they have contained India somewhat, but they have not taken a wicket. Drinks are on the field. I will leave you with Heston Charles, and then to carry the commentary so not quite ready, so I'll just go through what has happened this morning. India resuming on their overnight score of 80 without loss of 23 overs, with Rohit Sharma on 30. He had faced 65 balls yesterday, 3 fours and 1 6. Jaiswal was on 40, he faced 73 balls for his 40, and he struck 6 fours. This morning we saw Jason Hoder beginning from the Botanic Gardens end, the Billy Doctor Pavilion end, and he directed his delivery just outside of the off stump, and he kept things quiet. Bowled 5 overs this morning with only 13 runs. But I'm going to hand over to Andrew McLean, who will do the commentary, and we have a guest he'll introduce. So over to Andrew McLean.
Sure. Thank you very much, Andy Carter. So it's nice to be back in the commentary box, and I'm joined by Raunak Kapoor, who's out here doing television. Good morning, Raunak.
Yeah, morning, Andrew. It's good evening in my part of the world. So it all works.
So how are you finding your time in Dominica so far?
It's a pretty place, isn't it? I'm not used to 70,000 people in the entire country.
Yeah.
Where we come from, we can squeeze those many into one of our stadiums and still have room for a few more. But I know the Indian boys are really enjoying it. A month off in Indian cricket is a rare thing. And this team, to resume business in the Caribbean is not a bad place. They've only played the 1 test match here in 2011, and only Virat Kohli survives from that team. So too Rahul Dravid in a non-playing capacity. So it's a rare thing for the Indian team to have time off, be away from the crowd, just relax, and it's helped. You could see with the ease with which they've controlled and dominated day 1 and half a session on day 2, in a position now to dictate terms.
it's interesting what you're saying, Ranak, and because I distinctly remember when Sachin Tendulkar was playing, he loved coming to New Zealand, which is my country.
Yep.
I think it was Hamilton. He used to just walk to the game each day, and he just loved the freedom without all that pressure and stuff. And whether that translates into runs and wickets is another matter. But just being in a place where it's very relaxed must make the players more relaxed, but just their minds must be more relaxed.
100%. And Sachin was still at a time where the camera phone was just about becoming a thing.
Yeah.
Right? So even though he had fans come to him all over the world, it's probably for a handshake or sign something, but it's a different beast today. So
Yeah.
these guys with the IPL, the kind of paparazzi and the kind of attention that they caught back home, very young, that too. When Sachin was young, he played in a different time, a different team, but these guys get that wherever they are. So I can almost sense the come. A number of the Indian players have their families with them, kids are here as well. So I guess it can only be a good thing with the magnitude and the quantity of cricket that the Indian team plays. So just think a month off, will India take a little time? Are they rusty? Time off is a great thing.
Yeah. And so where in India are you from actually?
Mumbai,
Oh right.
same town as Sachin,
Yeah.
same town as Yashasvi and Rohit, batting together.
Yeah. Well, I'll come back to Jaiswal. So I was reading up about him last night, just kind of the background to how he got here and stuff. Bearing in mind he's only 21. But anyway, play's about to resume out in the middle. It's going to be Raheem Cornwall coming in to bowl his 7th over. He's not got none for 18, so the right arm off spinner. Bowling this time to the Indian skipper Roach. He just works that one away behind square. And it's picked up there by Roach. There's one further run to the total. And that takes Rohit through to his 50. You'd have to say 50 off 106 balls, a very measured block, but he just hasn't looked in any danger at all, has he?
Yeah, that pick up in the last over of Alzari just tells you that Rohit's in that mood now. When I want to hit it for 6, I will.
Yeah, as Cornwall bowls that next delivery to Jaiswal, and it's through to the keeper. So there was a nervy moment in the previous over when there was a big appeal against Jaiswal. Here's Cornwall to Jaiswal, that's a little bit shorter of a length, and just defends it away. A huge appeal with the ball sailing well and truly past the edge of the bat. Alright, here's Cornwall once more, bowling to Jaiswal, who drives that one up to long on. It's picked up there, I think that's Jason Holder down there. And one further run to Jaiswal, he moves on to 55. Have you ever seen a shorter run up than Cornwall's?
I'm trying to think.
Oh. So that was an interesting one. Rohit played it into the covers. Jaiswal remained in his crease. Rohit ran halfway down the wicket. He wasn't moving. And the wicketkeeper Joshua De Silva ended up doing the fielding at cover.
I think that was closer to Cornwall than it was for Joshua De Silva.
Here is Cornwall once more to Rohit. It's played into the leg side. Alec Athanade's there, fielding the ball. There's no run. That's the end of the over, and it's 119 for without loss here at Windsor Park. I know one person who's got a run up about the same length. It's me. But other than that, I've never seen it. But it is interesting, isn't it, with different, bowlers who bowl the same type of delivery. Look at Nathan Lyon. He's got quite a long run up.
Yeah.
Ish Sodhi, the New Zealand leg spinner, he's got a long run up.
And I think towards the end of Chris Gale's career, when he had given up bowling, but occasionally, just to please the crowd, because the universe demanded it, said, all right, I'll bowl, and he bowled in between the umpire and the stump. So he started off in front. That doesn't happen. it's also posing a problem for the umpire. Sometimes you have to stick your arm out if you want a bowler to hold on or a halt in play, and the bowler's in front of you, so you have to almost grab him back.
We're going to see a change in the attack now. It's going to be the left arm spinner Warrican. He's bowled 6 overs, no maidens, none for 20 so far. He's coming in to bowl round the wicket to Jaiswal, who's defensively forward, and there's no run. It's going to be hard to get a story in during the middle of an over with 2 spinners bowling, but Jaiswal, just his path to get to this level. Here he is, cutting this time behind point, and his man out there does the fielding, loses, oh no, I thought he had lost his sunglasses, but he hadn't. And that's Chanderpaul out there. So here's Warrican, wide on the crease to Jaiswal, and he's defensively forward to a ball on the line of leg stump. It's picked up at short leg and there's no run. Dreadlocked man, Warrican, here he is, and it's Jaiswal now looking for a run as Craig Brathwaite comes across from mid-on, but he's sent back by his captain, and there's no run. So Jaiswal on 55, Roach with him there on 50. There's Warrican again, and this one's just outside the long off stump. Jaiswal's cutting, but with no real power. It's picked up by Chanderpaul at point, and there's no run. So Jaiswal's bowling with Rakeem Cornwall at slip, and a man at short leg. 3 on the offside. Here he is, last ball of the over, and it's defended by Jaiswal. So after 39 overs of this innings, India is 119 for 0 at Windsor Park. But yes, with Jaiswal, I read that he's not originally from Mumbai.
Yep.
But I believe he was sleeping in Oval Maiden and selling food, basically to sustain himself while he was developing his cricket career.
Yeah, it's a heartwarming story. It's be careful to romanticize the struggle, but I think it sets the precedent to how cricketers in India reach this level. Many of them come from nothing. He was a boy in Uttar Pradesh who moved houses at 11, an 11-year-old taking a different city to try and pursue some form of livelihood, and of course cricket was the first of those. His uncle, as Rakeem Cornwall will continue, through it defends, his uncle was running, he's one of the groundskeepers at the Maidan, and our oval Maidans, for those who are familiar, you've got about 100 pitches in about the same acreage of land as Windsor Park and Dominica is. You have to watch out for cricket at the other end. So that's how we invariably have our school and local club cricket going on in Mumbai. So while he was assisting his uncle, he got a few games.
Here's Cornwall once more, and Roach's down the wicket defending, no run.
And because there was at times no place for his uncle to keep him, if say his uncle had someone else staying there, he had to sleep in the tent at the ground itself. And when cricket didn't give you any kind of daily allowance, if there was no cricket 4 months in Mumbai, you don't have cricket because of the weather.
There's Cornwall, and this time Roach sweeping. It's a top edge. There's a man running back, and it's just landed over his head. It was Roach, so mistimed there, mistimed sweep shot, and Roach shows his disgust with himself, swinging his bat as if to say, why did I play that shot, or why did I not play it better? But anyway, it's lobbed over short fine leg's head, and he's single for Roach. That brings Jaiswal on strike. Cornwall bowling round the wicket to him. He's defensively forward and there's no run.
He's asking questions, Cornwall, and yeah, just to complete the Jaiswal story, from there he speaks of it now and says it's that sort of hardship that reminds me of how good I need to be and value the experience, as he defends another one from Cornwall. He's rushing through this over, 4 balls already. That he had to be extraordinary, and that's what his first class journey has been in. 15 innings, we all know now, average of 80, 900s, 250s. He's cut the queue.
Here's Cornwall to Jaiswal, and he looks to sweep, but it balloons up off his pad. Oh no, it looks like it's hit him in the helmet. I think they're calling. Saw the umpire gesture towards the helmet. Maybe not. Anyway, that's the end of another over. India are 120 without loss here at Windsor Park. Yeah, a magnificent story, isn't it? I mean, you know, when I started reading about him, first thing I did was check out his first class stats. I was like, wow, 915 matches. This guy can play.
He doesn't like 50s. Yeah, he doesn't like 50s. So watch out. I mean, he's 55 now, and you're right. It did take his helmet the last ball of Cornwall's over. There is a quick check from the physio, which is mandatory. Even if you bowl at Cornwall's pace, and that hits you almost, it kisses you with kindness on the helmet. But protocol is that he gets the check, all good.
Actually, we had Curtly Ambrose on commentary yesterday when I think it was, who was it? Was it Reefer maybe? Anyway, it was one of the left-handers, and there was a glance to the helmet.
Right.
And I said to Sir Curtly, I said, just out of interest, did you hit many guys when you were bowling? He said, actually, I hardly ever hit anyone in the head. He said, I was more focused on taking wickets, you know?
Yeah.
He said, yeah, I'd rough them up a bit, but I never tried to hit anyone in the head. He said, some of my predecessors might have, but not me. Here's Warrican beginning a new over, bowling to Roach, the Indian captain, defensively forward, playing from the crease, and there's no run. So, just a reminder, our commentary position is at the river end of the ground here at Windsor Park, and Warrican runs away from us. Bowling his left arm spinners. Oh, that one bounced and turned a fraction. Rohit was prodding forward, and I think it just jumped a little bit. Maybe it hit a foot mark or something.
Yep.
Oh, it turned. Well, that's an encouraging sign for the West Indies. You just need to persist with these lines and keep asking the questions, I guess. This time Rohit's forward to a ball that doesn't turn and probably a bit flatter, and there's no run. And just going back to that previous delivery. Oh no, that wasn't the previous run. That one just went straight on. But yeah, the thing, that's a good move now, bringing the short leg across to the offside, so sort of a silly mid-off, I guess you would say. And this next one to Rohit is defended, but it's defended behind square. Gives Rohit the time to go through for a single. He moves on to 52. India 121 without loss. I guess the other thing too is that, getting 100 partnership with your captain on debut's got to help as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't take long to make an impression. That's what's happened in first-class cricket, in IPL cricket, and you say, oh, international cricket's the big step up. Not everyone who gets runs in first class can do it. As he just plays the fifth ball of the over to the man at short leg, Jaiswal. Warrican continuing to bowl round the wicket to the left-hander. But look at how easy he looks. He looks at home.
Yeah.
He looks at home in Test cricket.
It's been quite interesting, this match, in that sense for debutants, as Jaiswal defends to Warrican again. That's the end of the over. India 121 without loss here at Windsor Park. It was interesting watching the West Indies innings yesterday. The guy who looked most comfortable was the guy playing his first test.
Yeah.
He just did not look in any trouble whatsoever.
Yeah. And we had a chat with Alec Athanas at the end of the day, and Bish asked him a really good question. Where do you rate Test cricket, given what we know of the modern day cricket and what his aspirations and ambitions are? Nothing wrong with that. He said, I don't even like white ball cricket. I think he just got a record recently with the joint fastest 50 in one-day cricket, and here you got Athanas saying, I wanted to be a Test cricketer, and you could see once you value it, you set your targets there, you could come here and look terrific. Maybe the West Indies need more of that.
Here's Cornwall beginning a new over to Rohit, and that one bounced, and Rohit managed to defend it off without bringing the short leg into play. But yes, just looking at the replay, this really bounced. Oh, it hit him on the thigh pad actually. So it's probably about now Craig Brathwaite was thinking, why did I sky that ball yesterday when I was on 20? Why did we capitulate like we did when there's so much assistance for the spinners now? As that next one from Cornwall to Rohit is defended once more. Yeah, things are starting to happen on this pitch, that's for sure. Here's Cornwall to Rohit, and this is just defended, and there's no run.
I just think he's getting a little eager now, Rohit Sharma. Those kind of balls that kick up One's hit him, he's seen at the other end too. Jaiswal's been tested. There's a deep mid wicket, deep mid on. Roach won't care.
Here's Cornwall to Roach, and he's just defending that to a leg gully position, and there's no run. There's a massive gap on the offside too here, huge. There's a man at deep point, it's Chanderpool, and there's a mid-off and there's a slip. And Roach defensively forward again. Cornwall getting through his overs very quickly, so this is looking good for a maiden so far. If he can bowl this last ball with no run conceded, he comes in now. And Roach defensively forward. So yeah, very tidy over there from Cornwall. One bounce quite sharply. India 121 without loss at Windsor Park. I've got an interesting question for you. What's your view on the decision to move on, it seems, from Jaiswal Pujara?
I think it's triggered a lot of conversation, given that it's not like Pujara alone was responsible for India's defeat in either the WTC final, and otherwise outside of that they have a proud record in Test cricket. But I think it's now a long-term plan that we use this word transition a lot now in India. This is a team in transition, and you'd rather ring in the changes one by one. So it's a hard place to get into as Warrican continues from the commentary box end that we're from, as Jaiswal defends to short leg. It's a hard team to get into. There are a lot of people knocking on the door, but instead of having to have 3 young guys come in to replace 3 seniors in Kohli, Pujara and Rahane, or potentially even Rohit Sharma, brings out the paddle. Does Jaiswal will get at least 1, maybe 2 full ball that he picks up, and they will run back for 2 before the fielder a deep square returns. So 2 of the second ball. So I think they've just decided we're going to try and give someone else a go. I mean, if you have Jaiswal coming in, there's Gaikwad waiting, there's a lot of KL Rahul will return from injury at some point. So they've just decided that, yep, we're going to try something different. Pujara has been a great servant of Test cricket, of Indian cricket, and he's just gone back to the grind. He's already scoring runs in domestic cricket all over again. But I like the change. I know it's harsh, but it's a tough team to get into, and sometimes you got to take tough calls when you plan for the future of your team.
Yeah, I quite like the way you described that then. It kind of reminds me of football in some senses. You know, you look at Manchester United and the success they had.
Yeah.
Alex Ferguson was very good at moving players on as Warrican comes in again, bowling to Jaiswal, and he plays it into the leg side and there's no run. But he just knew when to move players on.
Yep.
And that was a hallmark of why they were able to keep succeeding for so long. Here's Warrican, this time Jaiswal's down the ground, but it's well stopped by the skipper Craig Brathwaite at mid-on, and there's no run.
And I think Andrew, now Test cricket's been looked at from the lens of a 2-year cycle, right? India have made 2 WTC finals. As Warrican continues, Jaiswal defends. You think Pujara's not capable of getting runs here? Sure he is. Maybe he would have in this position got you 50, 100. He's still more than capable. But in 2 years' time, if you find yourselves in another WTC final, possibly playing in Australia or in England or South Africa in foreign conditions.
Here's Warrican to Jaiswal, and he's working that one behind square, and they think about a run. They have a mid-pitch conversation, and then they say, oh, maybe just go back. And there's no run. So that's the end of another over from Warrican. He's got bowled 9, none for 23. India are 123 without loss here at Windsor Park.
That throw was so wayward, it hit Cornwall on the foot and he wasn't pleased. He hit so wide on the keeper. He's not going to get the ball in hand. But that's exactly the point, that in 2 years' time, would you like to have a Yashasvi Jaiswal who would have played maybe 20 tests and bossed it if he does play as well as he has today and as he has in his first-class career? That just gives you a different dimension. A left-hander at the top, something India desperately missed against Australia in the WTC final with 6 right-handers, one after the other. So I guess it's just looking ahead, and full credit to the selectors because it's a tough call, and it reminds the senior players in the team too, to be honest, to continue delivering.
Well, there's another reason too, is like if Rohit gets injured, for example, right, then you've got another opener there available. Here's Cornwall bowling to Rohit, and that turns past his pads on the leg side, and there's no run. And as you say, KL Rahul can come back. So it's just building depth, and I think it's a great tour to start him off on.
Absolutely.
You know? Here's Cornwall to Rohit. He plays that one into the covers. There's absolutely no one out there anywhere near the ball, but they just amble through for a single. And there's no one run further added to the total. Rohit moves on to 53, 124 without loss. Yeah, and what a great place to start.
100%.
This is where Virat Kohli started his career in the Caribbean in 2011. Although it must be said, Jaiswal's doing a little bit better than Kohli did at that time.
Sunil Gavaskar started here in 71 under very different power equations from who the stronger team was between the West Indies and India. But yeah, some all-time greats come from the West Indies when they start here for India.
Cornwall to Warrican. This time he's driving, and he can't beat the man at extra cover. That's Craig Brathwaite, and there's no run. So Cornwall round the wicket to the left-handed Jaiswal. He's defending. Cornwall not able to extract the same turn that he managed to get in the previous over to the right-handed Rohit Sharma to the left-handed Jaiswal, but let's see what he can do here. And having just said that, beats the outside edge of the bat with one that turned sharply, but Jaiswal wasn't good enough to connect with that one. As we just see the replay on the monitor here, missed it by a long way. So at the end of the over now, it's 124 without loss here at Windsor Park. Yeah, it's quite interesting. I was doing my homework on this, and I just had a funny feeling. I thought, I wonder if Kohli played here last time. I guessed, So I looked it up, and sure enough, he did play. And in fact, at that time his highest Test score was at this ground actually.
Correct.
He got 30.
It was his debut series.
Yeah, and he actually got 76 runs over the 3 matches.
Yeah, it was
so
a tough tour.
Fair to say he's improved a bit since then.
That was the only time, Andrew, in his career that he was dropped. He was dropped after that, after that West Indies series, and then found his way back a few months later, and the rest, as they say, is history. So the only time Virat Kohli's tasted the bitter feeling of being dropped from the national side was after West Indies in 2011.
Well, I saw his next match was actually against the West Indies in 1KD.
Yeah.
So his first 4 matches were against the West Indies, but I think he scored a half century in both innings in that match in 1KD. Here's Warrican beginning a new over from the river end. It's outside the line of off stump. Rohit lets it go through the keeper, and there's no run. But yeah, it was fascinating. And then of course there's this amazing story that. Just come back to that. Here's Warrican bowling to Rohit Sharma. He cuts that one. There's no one out there. That's racing away to the point boundary for 4. But yeah, there's an amazing story that it's believed, and I don't know if this has been verified, but I heard it from a reputable source from India, that Kohli is the only person to play against a father and a son on the same ground.
On the same ground?
On the same ground.
Yeah, I think that narrows the bubble a little bit. Yeah, because we know Ashwin's played against them. Rohit Sharma too has played against Chandrapal. So, yeah.
Yeah, so here is Warrican, and Rohit's defensively forward. But yeah, that's because Chandrapal Shivnarayan, that is, made 100 here in 2011. Of course, his son's playing here now. He's still got a chance to make 100, perhaps, in the second innings. Here's Warrican bowling to Rohit, and he's defensively forward, and there's no run. And yeah, Virat Kohli played in both those fixtures. So that's a story I heard from an Indian journalist. He told me.
We find our ways to make the most exclusive stat for Virat Kohli. So that Chandrapal equation, which is lovely for Ashwin, no, let's find a way for Kohli to be exclusive again, king of that stat. So at this ground and nowhere else has there been a player who's played against the father and son.
Same location. Yeah, here's Rohit driving the next one from Warrican. It's fielded by Craig Brathwaite at mid-off, and there's no run. Yeah, so I'm trying to get an interview with Kohli while I'm here. And I know it's going to be pretty much impossible, but I've got to try and think of some unbelievable story, and I think I might just have it. Here's Warrican bowling the next one. It beats the outside of Rohit Sharma's bat through to the keeper Joshua De Silva, and there's no run. So at the end of the 45th over, it's 128 without loss here at Windsor Park. Actually, what's it like from a media perspective with the Indian team when they're abroad, in terms of trying to speak to them and get stories, compared to, say, when they're in India or the IPL or?
Well, when they're in India, there are about 100 different media organizations wanting a piece of them, which I guess reduces once they travel, especially to the Caribbean. You have less traveling Indian journalists this time. Caribbean's an expensive place to come to these days. Beautiful place.
Oh my goodness. I cannot believe how much money I'm spending here.
But it's money well spent.
Oh, sure.
Let's put it that way. Yeah, but yeah, it still is. So gone are the days when there used to be about 7 or 8 print establishments and maybe a couple of news channels, and everyone used to send someone to travel with the Indian team. So as we've seen over here, there's not a lot of Indian journals, but there is a media manager who at times obliges. So try your luck.
Here's Cornwall starting a new over, bowling to Jaiswal, and there's no run as he lets that one go through to the keeper. So Cornwall bowling well here, not going for too many runs, getting some to turn. That one's on the line of middle stump and defended by Jaiswal, and there's no run. Here is Cornwall, and that one turns sharply once again past the outside edge of Jaiswal's bat through to Joshua De Silva. So yeah, Cornwall definitely extracting turns, getting good revolutions on the ball. In fact, that just straightened slightly, it didn't turn too sharply. And the next one to Jaiswal is defended. But yeah, just the ball, things are starting to happen, but he's up against a very capable batsman in Jaiswal, and of course Roach at the other end as he defends the next one. So just the one ball left in this over, and after this over I'll be handing to Andy Carter, and Lockhart Sebastian will be taking our places. So thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And hope we'll have you again sometime.
Yes, look forward. Cheers.
And it's 128 without loss here at Windsor Park. Just give Andy a minute to get to his seat as Lockhart Sebastian joins the commentary once more, and just a little bit of a delay here. It looks like Raheem Cornwall is leaving the field. As Ranak mentioned before, he got hit on the foot by a throw, so that could be the reason. As Lockhart Sebastian joins, and I'll hand over to Andy Carter.
Well, yes, Andrew, was India now 128 runs without loss, very strong position. They've added 48 runs so far for today. A bit slow, but both batsmen have tried to consolidate. They're both on 57, and Andrew, things don't look too good for the West Indies.
Definitely not. Overnight, 80 without loss of 23 overs. They have now moved on to 128 without loss. Yeah, Shazvi Jaiswal has moved from 40, he's now 57. Both batsmen, in fact, are on 57. Overnight, Jaiswal was on 40 and Sharma was on 30. As the first delivery from Jomel Warrican is met with the full face of the bat by Rohit Sharma. Started off quite slowly, Rohit Sharma, but slowly getting into his spaces, drives pleasantly, and straight to the man at the cover position. Looks like the emergency fieldsman. It looks like Cook Mackenzie. So here is another delivery here from Jomel Warrican. Again, Sharma is defensively forward, and again he can score. So India trail by 22 runs. overnight 80 without loss. They have added some 48 runs in this morning's play so far. Drives pleasantly, finds Mackenzie in the way. And we look around and we're not seeing, it seems Cornwall is off the
Cornwall
field.
is off, he just left the field after he bowled the last over.
Bowls a full toss with drives powerfully, beats Mackenzie to his left and goes into the extra cover boundary. 4 runs, a gift of a delivery there, and Sharma said, thank you very much, stroked it pleasantly down to the boundary.
A full toss from Warrican, and when you get gifts like that, you have to put them away. And that's what Rohit Sharma did.
So, bright sunny day here, no problems with rain whatsoever. As we approach lunch, it's 25 minutes to go before lunch on the second day, and already India in a very commanding position. Here is a delivery from the left arm orthodox bowler, Warrican. Sharma comes forward, pushes it on the offside. The 47th over has come to an end. Rohit Sharma is on 61, Jaiswal is on 57, India 132 without loss, and that's the latest score here at Windsor Park.
Well, Andy, with Cornwall off the field, maybe you might see Craig Brathwaite bowling a few off spinners, because Azari Joseph and Jason Holder, as well as Roach, all three had spells this morning. So, in fact, as I mentioned that, Andy, we're seeing Craig Brathwaite handing his cap to the umpire and probably coming in to bowl in place of Cornwall, who's off the field.
Yes, so we're about to see Captain Craig Brathwaite. He has bowled before, and he has taken a 6 wickets haul at some time in his career.
Yes, he has, yes.
And in fact, 6 for 29 is his best bowling figures. So the Indian batsman will be well aware of that, and he gets a delivery here from Brathwaite, drives it up to the deep cover. Warrican is there, and the batsman crossed for 1. So Jaiswal moves on to 61. 58 is Jaiswal. Rohit Sharma, who comes down to face up to Brathwaite, is on 61. 133. Just 17 runs behind the West Indies total of 150. Here is Brathwaite. Right arm off spinner bows. Ball is played there to mid-wicket. Cook Mackenzie is on the field for Cornwall. Fields, and there is no run. So a solid continuation there by the Indians as he works this one delightfully off his legs. He loves it there. Plays it to mid-wicket. Warrican will come across to his right. Sends in the return, but the batsman crossed for 1. So easy going there for the Indians.
Yes, and with that long batting lineup, and the West Indies could be in there for all day long today on the field. You have Thakur batting at number 9.
Brathwaite bows, the batsman gets a well up delivery, plays it to cover, and there is no run. Brathwaite from around the wicket bows a flatter delivery, but once again Jaiswal is equal to it, pushes it to cover where Mackenzie fields, and there is no run. So 2 runs have been come off the over so far from Brathwaite. Bows about delivery, tossing this one up. A good piece of fielding there by the man at squarish cover, Kima Roach. A good drive by Jaiswal, and well cut off there by Kima Roach, preventing any chance of a run. The over comes to an end, the end of over number 48, and the partnership now 134 in there without loss, and that's the latest score here at Windsor Park.
And Andrew, obviously the Indians looking to bat once. They bowled out the West Indies for 150. It's 134. Obviously by tea time they should have a sizable lead. And West Indies, well, obviously they would have been looking for early wickets this morning. They didn't get that, and now they're chasing the ball game, Andrew, as they say.
Yes, difficult moments for the West Indies, but you consider the Dominican public, they've come out, they've seen these great players on television, Roach Sharma, they've seen Jaiswal in the IPL, they've come out there to see Virat Kohli and a few others.
Shubman Gill.
Yes.
Rahani as well.
Right. So still that level of interest in seeing the great players.
Yes, and I mean, you want Virat Kohli, you can't miss not seeing a class batsman like that, a world-rated batsman.
Warrican begins his 12th over, gets one to spin away from the right-handed batsman, goes through to the wicket-keeper, but Rohit Sharma showing just a little bit of concern there at that delivery from Warrican, a good one.
And a few balls have spun like that and bounced as well, Andy.
Warrican goes and forces the batsman on the back foot, punches it to Brathwaite. They're at short extra cover, and again there is no run. So failing to get a wicket so far in the morning session, and on the back foot is Sharma playing this one back to the bowler. So apart from a few deliveries which have spun away, we had one review of Cornwall, but it was a judge not out, and it remained not out. Here is Warrican. Woes, good delivery, good length delivery. Batsman comes forward in no difficulty whatsoever.
Yes, and this is a pitch, Andrew, and you have to fight to your run. Not a pitch you can just come and play stroke all over the place. Slow, some balls are bouncing, some are keeping low, so the batsmen are prepared to wait for bad balls.
Warrican draws the batsman forward, he plays it past short leg and gets a run, an easy one at that. And Rohit moves on to 63. Jaiswal is on 58. It looks like an Andrew affair. Andrew Carter, Andrew McLean, and over there in Barbados, Andrew Mason. Yeah. We'll have to change your name, Lucas, to Andrew Sebastian. Here is Warrican. Bows the delivery. The batsman essaying their sweep. I don't think he made any contact. We will await the umpire signal, and he will now signal byes. So 2 byes taken there, and it reduces the amount the Indians trail by to 13 runs. The over comes to an end, and at the end of the over, India 137 without loss is the latest score here at Windsor Park.
And then the West Indies, one wonder where the first wicket is going to come from. The batsmen, although there are a few balls that have bounced and turned, the batsmen have looked very comfortable, and both batsmen have played very well. So the West Indies, we wonder where the first wicket. Cornwall is off the field. You see Craig Brathwaite continuing to bowl. Obviously, I'm sure the West Indies don't want Cornwall off the field for too long, because it's supposed to be the main spinner. So it doesn't look good for the West Indies. They need a few wickets. The Indians are just prepared to bat and bat very long until they declare, Andy.
Well, they have Raymond Rifa, but this pitch is not conducive to swing bowling, and Raymond Rifa is a line and length bowler who relies on a bit of swing, as Brathwaite bowls the first delivery, which Sharma plays and gets a run for it.
And in this hot sun, you're not going to get much swing, Andy. I mean, this
at all.
Definitely not going to get much swing.
So you might just be used as a stock bowler, just to see if they can keep down the runs. But here is another delivery from Brathwaite, cut nicely by Jaiswal, but once again Kima Roach there, short backward point, fields well. Showing you the map of Ashwin yesterday, and you cannot really compare Ashwin. Ashwin has much more variety. He has the Dusra, as we see Brathwaite bows another delivery. Jaiswal plays it quite easily there to Mackenzie at short extra cover. Here is Brathwaite. Floats this one up, opens the face of the bat, guides the ball to Roach at backward point, and again he can score. Ashwin has the quicker one, the Dusra. He has a whole variety, and he is one you would have to contend with. But we'll get back as Brathwaite bows another tight delivery, once again played to Mackenzie at short extra cover. your comparison, if there's any, with the bowlers of India as he goes back, trying to force off the back foot, the over comes to an end. It's the end of over number 50. India won 38 without loss, and look at it's really, I don't really want to say chalk and cheese, the West Indies spinners in comparison to Ashwin and Jadeja.
Well, Ashwin and Jadeja are world-class bowlers. World-class. One has, what, 470 odd wickets. The other one has close to 300 wickets at Jadeja. They have proven all over the world that they can bowl on any surface. They have been outstanding. So really there's no comparison between Cornwall and Warrican and Ashwin and Jadeja. But Andy, I just want to mention both debutants, young Afanaz and Jaiswal himself, have made very good debut. Ali Afanaz yesterday played very, very well. Unfortunately, he didn't get to a half century. And Jaiswal, the young Indian batsman, has gone past 50 and he's played extremely well.
What does the West Indies have in the cupboard in terms of spinners?
Well, you know, what's his name from Guyana hasn't played for, he has been injured.
Which one? Permal?
Not Permal. What's his name now? Can't remember.
Oh, Moti.
Moti. Gudakesh Moti
Yes.
has been injured. I think he might come back for the one-day games, but he has been injured, unfortunately. And I'm sure West Indies have missed somebody like him.
Yes, indeed. He bowls quite well. He has good variation, good flight, and he's a wicket taker.
And he gets bunks as well.
Yes, I think on that pitch there, he would be a good proposition.
In fact, as I said, I saw Permal making some comments that what have he got to do to get back into the West Indies team?
Well, Permal has dominated the original scene for a number of years.
He's always high up in the averages after first class season.
Where they had 2 wrongs and he was almost over 50 wickets, you know. So that's a good question. What does he have to do? Warrican, what does he have to do? Try to get a wicket for the West Indies now. Try to get a breakthrough as he bowls the first delivery to Sharma, who drives straight to the man there at short extra cover, Brathwaite. He's sending back Kirk Mackenzie a bit there as Warrican bows, and looks like Sharma is intent on getting a big one. There is the opportunity to get a century, and these great batsmen, they don't let it go begging. Here is Warrican. Drives pleasantly, beats the man, the captain, but Mackenzie backs up and the batsmen cross for 1.
And then we've seen Cornwall as we look to the southern and looked probably, I hope he's not going to the hospital or something. We just see him exiting.
Yes, and that's not good news for the West Indies.
Yeah, we see him going up maybe the first aid center. Yeah.
Well, let's hope it's not too serious. The West Indies can ill afford to lose a bowler in this situation, and especially a bowler of his caliber.
A spinner, yeah, that.
And on this pitch. Here is a delivery once again from Warrican. Jaiswal meets it with the full face of the bat and plays it back to the bowler. Jaiswal on 58 has faced 158 deliveries so far. Here is a delivery, comes down using his feet quite nicely, plays it to the left of the captain and gets an easy run. So he moves on to 59. Rohit Sharma is on 65 and Rohit has passed him. He was ahead of Rohit by some distance, but now Rohit has got things moving and he knows what he's capable of doing. As he comes forward, plays it to Silimidov, and the over comes to an end. Over number 51. Rohit Sharma is on 65, Jaiswal is on 59, 140 without loss India. As we approach lunch, it's the latest score here at Windsor Park.
And both batsmen have been very comfortable on the wicket today. They've played very well. They've started last night from 80 without loss. It's now what, 140. They've added 60 runs this morning. A bit slow, but I don't think the Indians are concerned about that, Andy. I think they only want to bat once.
Well, 28 overs have been bowled in the day so far and just 60 runs, so the West Indies containing but not getting wickets. It's important to get wickets. Here is Brathwaite. Woes from around the wicket. Jaiswal is driving, will find the Warrican on the deep cover boundary and will get just 1 run. He moves to 60 and India 141, just trailing by 9 runs now. So it's just a matter of time before they will surpass that 150 scored by the West Indies. Floats this one as if to tempt the batsman Roach, but not to be tempted. Roach is looking for a century here. If you can get it here on this pitch, you can't wait to when you reach to the Queen's Park Oval. Here is a quicker delivery and played there to short leg, and once again there is no run. So Brathwaite in his 3rd over, just 4 runs coming off his 2.3 overs so far. Woes one, the off break, you could see it clearly spinning into Sharma. Plays it to the straightish mid wicket. Mackenzie is there and there is no run. So just 1 slip, short leg, as flighted delivery there from Brathwaite. And batsman Sharma just playing it easily back to Brathwaite. Doesn't seem that the Indian batsmen are in any sort of problems at the moment. As he goes on the back foot and plays it, the man coming out from squarish cover runs across Shandapal and limits the batsman to 1. The over comes to an end. The end of Brathwaite's 3rd over. 5 runs has come off his 3 overs, and at the end of over number 52, the Indian total 142 without loss.
And the Craig Brathwaite not posing any problem for the batsmen. Both of them are very comfortable. Obviously, they're not taking chances. I don't think they want to give away the wicket to Craig Brathwaite, who's really not a frontline bowler. So both of them are prepared to wait on bad delivery. As you said, Rohit Sharma looking for a century. Young Jaiswal himself, who has had a very good record in first-class cricket, looking for another century as well. In fact, he has 1,500s in first-class cricket. Now 9, I think, in 15 matches, averaging over 80. So he's probably looking for a century here in his debut.
And when you are in, you can't throw it away. You've got to capitalize and ensure that you get a big one, because you don't know when you're going through a bad patch. So when you get it good, you've got to take it.
Because the next inning you have to start a knock.
Here is a quick flat delivery from Warrican, the left arm orthodox spinner, and is met with the full face of the bat by Rohit Sharma in no difficulty whatsoever. And I dare say that at a certain time Rohit will accelerate his scoring. Here is Warrican from around the wicket, draws the batsman forward, plays it to Silly mid-off. Afanaz is there and there is no run. So just 1 slip deployed, backward point, short extra cover, deep cover, mid-on, and a man deep on the mid-wicket boundary. And the Warrican so far has bowled 13 overs and 2 balls, none for 34. Oh, the West Indies would want a wicket just before lunch. Comes forward, meets the full face of the bat. No difficulty whatsoever for the Indian batsmen. Comfortable, as if they're in their living room, waiting for service. As Warrican again, left arm, bows, batsman comes forward. Rohit not willing to give his wicket away. When these good batsmen see an opportunity to get runs, they try to take full advantage of it. India trail by 8 runs. Warrican once again driven straight to short extra cover, where Captain Brathwaite fields, and there is no run. So some 62 runs scored in the morning's play so far, and India resuming on 68 without loss after 23 overs. As Warrican bowls another delivery, the batsman plays defensively forward. At the end of the over, India 142 without loss is the latest score here at Windsor Park.
Was it 68 or 80?
80, sorry, 80, I beg your pardon, 80. So they have added some 62.
Yeah.
So 62 runs added.
A bit slow, but I don't think they've bothered about that, Andy. They're not looking to bat and bat and bat and grind the West Indies in the hot sun. That's what they obviously is their objective.
So 30 overs bowled in this morning's play, 62 runs scored. And the West Indies, they have contained them somewhat, but unable to make any breakthrough.
Very good over rate though, 30 overs so far. Very good over rate.
Here is Brathwaite from the Botanic Gardens end. 5 more minutes to lunch. And can the West Indies make a breakthrough just before lunch? Goes on the back foot, punches straight to the man at cover, Mackenzie Fields, and there is no run. Brathwaite once again. Jaiswal takes a walk, trying to ensure that he stays there till lunch. Model of concentration. You wouldn't want to throw it away at this point in time. Floats a delivery there, a shout from the players, but rather optimistic shout. But Brathwaite picks the ball up and makes his way to his bowling mark rather quickly. Jaiswal walks away again, trying to ensure he stays there. Drives. We'll find the man Warrican on the deep cover boundary and will amble, just walk a single virtually. And the batsmen cross easily. Jaiswal moves on to 61. Rohit Sharma is on 66. 143 without loss. And certainly India trying to grind, will only want to bat once in this match. There's no doubt about it. Here is Brathwaite. Woes. Sharma is clipping this one. The man on the mid-wicket boundary will come in and the batsman will be limited to just 1 run. So 1 more to Sharma. He moves on to 67 and the Indian total 144, just trailed by 6 runs. And to watch Rohit Sharma in his 51st test. He has 9 centuries so far and 14 half centuries. So you'll add this one, you'll want it to be 15, but rather you would prefer that he gets another 100 to add to his 9. High score of 212. Certainly West Indies wouldn't want that kind of a score on them. Here is Brathwaite, gets up at one slightly short of a length. Jaiswal was trying to force it past the cover and Mackenzie does well to field. Final delivery of the 54th over to be bowled. But you can see Jaiswal walking away after each delivery. Forces straight back to the bowler. The over comes to an end. The end of over number 54. India 144 without loss. They trail by 6 runs. Rohit Sharma is on 67. Jaiswal is on 61. And that's the latest score here at Windsor Park.
Yes, and the Indian batsmen, Andy, 1 over to go before lunch. They're looking to probably just block out the last over, come back to settle again after lunch. As you said, both batsmen looking to get hundreds. Both of them, Jaiswal in his debut, he's played extremely well. The captain himself, Sharma has played well, and we see, I think it's Alik Afanaz, Andy, I think coming to bowling over before lunch.
Yes.
Yeah, who knows? Probably he could be lucky and pick up a wicket.
Yes, the final over, and you can hear the screams from the crowd. Local boy, Alik Afanaz on debut. And you can fault Brathwaite for trying something different. It has brought in Alik Afanaz, who bowls a bit of off spin. Can he be the one to make the breakthrough for the West Indies? Final over on this, the second day of the pure cycle Agapafi test series, and Brathwaite trying to see if he gets a wicket, brings in Alec Afanaz, and he will go to Rohit Sharma. Here is Afanaz, goes the delivery on the legs of Sharma, strikes it powerfully, hits the man at short leg, and there is no run. So it's the cycle pure Agapafi series, the second day of the first test match in this series. It's a 2-test series. The next test match will be played over at Queen's Park Oval in Trinidad and Tobago. Here is Alec Afanaz, flights this one. Sharma is using his feet to delivery, finds Kirk Mackenzie at a straightish mid wicket, and there is no run. Here is Afanaz, right arm off spinner again. He draws the batsman down the track. Sharma with the signal, if there's any, as he came down the track, and no signal from the umpire, so he must have got some bats, but deceived slightly there. Coming down the track, Sharma, and he gets another run. He moves on to 68. Jaiswal is on 61. Alec Afanaz, not afraid to flight the ball. He's not a regular bowler, but he can hold his end. And Brathwaite making some adjustments to the field for the left-handed batsman Jaiswal. He brings in a slip, he sends Mackenzie to slip, and the captain comes to short extra cover. There's Alzari Joseph at mid-off and Kima Roach at mid-on. Bowls a delivery outside of the off stump, and Jaiswal allows it to go through to wicketkeeper De Silva, standing up behind the stumps. So 2 more deliveries in this over. Here is Afanaz, flies this one and he drives. Beautiful shot. Chandapur moves across to his left, gathers, and the batsman can only cross for 1. So 1 to Jaiswal. He moves to 62. Rohit is on 68. India trail by just 4 runs as the final delivery before lunch, and it will be faced there by Rohit Sharma. Looks around, sees there's a leg slip, comes forward, plays straight to refer there at short leg. The end of the play before lunch on day 2, India end on 146 without loss. Jaiswal is on 62, and Rohit Sharma not out there. 32 overs were bowled, 66 runs, and the West Indies did not get a wicket. So overnight, 80 without loss, with Sharma on 30, Jaiswal on 40. They have gone to lunch, and
You want him to go? Okay.
And very delighted to welcome the Prime Minister of Dominica to join us in the commentary box as the players go off for lunch. Thank you, sir, for giving your time. Are you a big cricket fan?
A big cricket fan. A pleasure to be here. Thank you, and of course, welcome to Dominica.
Oh, thank you. I'm enjoying my time in your country. Very nice weather you have too. You turned the rain off for the cricket.
Excellent weather for cricket.
What's your impression of the match so far?
Well, a little bit disappointed in the first innings of West Indies. I think we should be now maybe 340 or so thereabout. But that's the game of cricket. we now have to try to get a breakthrough against the Indians and going into TV for a couple of wickets down.
Yeah, I think the second innings is going to be very important. Craig Brathwaite and Chanderport well capable of making big double hundreds. But you must have been impressed with young Alec Athanase yesterday.
I think he anchored the team with 47. I think he played with poise and he was deliberate with his shots, he was careful. Unfortunately, there was an error in the stroke, which he could have avoided. But again, these things happen. But he played very well and we were very pleased with his performance.
And what's it like for Dominicans to have one of your own, representing the West Indies?
It's a source of pride for us. I mean, we've been knocking at the doors of the West Indies selectors for some time now. There were quite a few pretty good cricketers prior to Alec Athanase who were not recognized and selected. So we're very happy that finally Alec, who has been performing pretty well at the regional tournament, has finally gotten the favor of West Indian selectors, and I'm sure that his performance here today would reinforce our view and our call that we're making for a very long time, that he would have scored 47 out of 150 or so, as a debut. Certainly is a clear sign that he has a possibility of cementing his position on the West Indies final 11.
Well, based on the way he batted yesterday, I thought he looked the most comfortable out of everyone actually. Timed the ball beautifully. As you say, he just mistimed that attempted pull shot to get out, but he looked very, very impressive. Prime Minister, I just wanted to ask you another question. I flew over with British Airways to get here, and at the start of every film or every TV series, there was a big thing about Dominica. So there's just a coincidence that I happened to be coming here about your citizenship for investment program. Are you able to share a little bit about how that's going?
It's a program that's about 30 years old, where we offer an opportunity for others to have Dominican citizenship. It's an important source of investment and revenues for the government. We use those resources for the economic and social development of Dominica. We have been able to build several hotels and houses, and of course we have a plan to become the world's first climate resilient nation, and this requires significant sums of money which are not available at the international financial institutions, and therefore we utilize this as a source of funds to help us build that resilience within our country. The impacts of climate change, it's a major threat to our existence. And so it is a robust program which goes through a very detailed and robust due diligence process, and we ensure that those who end up being part of our country and being our citizens are reputable individuals.
Well, Prime Minister, thank you very much for coming to join us here on the Cut and Drive Network. And to our listeners right around the Caribbean, we'll join you about 5 minutes before play resumes in about half an hour from now.
Sure. Thank you very much and all the best. Thank you. Sorry I have to rush again.
I'm Andrew McLean.
Too loud.
I'm Andrew McLean, and
Listen to that. You hear noise in the background.
the players are making their way back out onto the field now. Of course, it was a very successful first session for India. They progressed their overnight total of 80 on to 146. So 66 runs added in that first session without the loss of a wicket. And so at the moment we've got their captain Roach on 68 and the debutant Jaiswal, who's batted extremely well, on 62. So a total of 55 overs bowled so far, so India scoring at less than 3 and over. We're going to see a bowling change of ends here. Warrican is going to be coming in from the far end of the ground, which is the Botanical Gardens end, in front of the Billy Doctrove Pavilion. Just a reminder, my name's Andrew McLean. And alongside me, after a rather tasty lunch, is Lockhart Sebastian.
You enjoyed it, Andrew? Good afternoon.
I did. I enjoyed a little bit of rice and beans. And, you know, here's Warrican coming into Jaiswal, bowling round the wicket. Jaiswal's watchfully forward. It's a very interesting field he's got here. So you've got a left-arm orthodox spinner. You've got a mid-off, and the only other man on the offside, apart from a slip, is at deep backward point.
I suppose that feels very good for the reverse sweep, the backward point.
So here is Warrican, bowling to Jaiswal. Yes, so he's got three men catching. You've got Blackwood at slip, you've got Athanaze at leg slip, and there's a man under the helmet at short leg. This time Jaiswal's down the wicket, playing the ball into the offside, just to the right of mid-off. That's Jason Holder up there wearing the floppy hat after lunch, and Jaiswal adds 1 to his total. He moves on to 63.
And West Indies without their main spinner, he's not on the field, Andrew. Rakim Cornwall. We don't know what's the problem. We wish we had somebody to tell us what's wrong with him. Still off the field, Cornwall.
That's a good point, yeah. Well, when I was on commentary earlier with Ranak Kapoor, he noticed that when one of the West Indies fielders threw the ball in, it hit Cornwall on the foot when he was fielding at slip, I think. And that may have been the problem.
You think so?
But he limped off yesterday as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
You know, with about half an hour to go. So here's Warrican again, bowling left arm round the wicket to the right-handed Roach Sharma, and he just plays that into the leg side, where it's picked up by the local boy, Alec Athanaze, and there's no run. Young Athanaze made the Prime Minister very proud, as he mentioned to us just before lunch there. Here's Warrican. This time he's driving Sharma, attempting to drive, and not really timing it. Eyeing up that big gap at mid-off, so they've got a silly point and a short cover for Warrican, and this time Sharma hits it straight to the man at short cover. That's Craig Brathwaite, the captain. So after 56 overs of this first India innings, they are 147 without loss here at Windsor Park.
Yeah, and Andrew, you notice the Indian batsmen have not been taking any chances. They're playing every ball on its merit. Both batsmen appear that they want to make hundreds. They're prepared to wait for the bad balls, and obviously they're looking to bat once. That's what we see from the approach of the Indian batsmen.
Well, I remember yesterday, Sebu, you talked about some of the West Indian shots being ill-advised. So there's a marked contrast in styles. This is the same pitch, you know, there's no well, actually Cornwall in particular was getting the ball to turn. So actually, if he's not able to bowl, that's it's a big blow for the West Indies. And it looks like Athanase, who bowled the 1 over before lunch, and Brathwaite, the skipper, bowled 4 overs, so they might have to do quite a bit more bowling. Right, so from the river end,